We are super proud to announce that Stay Plugged In is now sponsored by HyperX for our online events for the month of August. Prizes will include a Cloud Stinger wireless headset and a Cloud Stinger wired headset for our Turbo Tuesday tournaments for the first and second winning teams. And then for our Valorant tournaments, which are every other week on Thursdays and Fridays, that will be the Alloy Origins Core Mechanical Gaming Keyboard, HX Red, and the Pulsefire FPS Pro Gaming Mouse, which the keyboard is for first place and the mouse is for second place.
Welcome back, everybody. Today, I'm CJ Collins. I have with me here today for the Spincast, Rick Suarez, a known host for the Spincast, Sharon Jones, the owner and founder of the Dottie Rose Foundation, and one of her campers and students, probably the brightest young employee of the Dottie Rose Foundation, AVA LOUISE. Thanks for joining me here today. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so do we want to do a quick roundtable? Just do a little basic introduction?
Yes.
I'll let you go first, Rick. Go for it.
Sure. As you guys have watched before, Stay Plugged In. Here, I am one of the co-founders of this organization that deals specifically with esports and getting a number of students up halfway into the collegiate scene of things. So,
I am Dr. Sharon Jones, and I am the founder and CEO of the Dottie Rose Foundation, and our mission is to connect the dots between computer science and technology in real-world applications, and we focus on young ladies from the middle school era.
Cool.
I am Ava Louise. I have been in Dr. Sharon's camp for quite a few years, and I come along on her journeys, and her camps are very fun and exciting.
Awesome. But what grade are you in, Ava Louise?
Oh, sorry. I'm in 5th grade.
Where do you go to school?
Providence Spring Elementary
There you
School.
go.
Yes, there we go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm CJ Collins, the Director of Operations with Stay Plugged In. I'm also the owner and founder of the Charlotte Phoenix, which is a professional esports team, and then Charlotte Esports, where we run production and events for different esports events inside the city. So now we've kind of all done the roundtable. I think I want to start with the Dottie Rose Foundation. I know you gave us like a really brief highlight of it, but give us kind of the backstory, like why start the Dottie Rose Foundation, and what really do you want it to be in the end?
Wow, that's a great question,
Yeah.
and thank you for the opportunity. Ava Louise and I are very excited to be here. I am, let's see, the backstory, though. Gosh, CJ, we could talk for
I know.
so long on this, but the short of it is I've been in education for about 20 years now, and the majority of my time has been in computer science in the K-12 sector, and then I've spent a little bit of time in higher education at our community college, but the reason behind it is that over time of being a computer science educator, one of the things that I noticed the most was that the female participation in my classes really began to decline, even from when I started teaching to when I left the classroom to be in an administration. And what I was beginning to notice is my expertise really fell in the high school area. And what I found was that between elementary school and high school, we were missing the mark. I am a career and technical education teacher by trade. That's what my teaching degree is in. So I've spent a lot of time in middle and high school in career and technical education, which would be the equivalent of vocational education, depending on where your listeners are from. But anything that has to do with, a lot of times they fall in the electives category,
Sure.
But career and technical ed is computer science, it's engineering, it's business, etc. And the middle school curriculum, which really didn't have a lot of girth to it. And over time, we were watering it down a bit, and we were losing girls. And so I started to do a lot of work around bringing more girls into after-school programming. I was doing things there at my high school where I was teaching and having some of my students go into the middle schools and help mentor or provide during school day activities, during weeks like Computer Science Week. And it just began to I would get more and more excited about it because I could see the light bulbs starting to go off in the young people when they realized that it wasn't as overwhelming or as hard or as boring as they may think it was. So I was also then doing workshops and other things for other people, for different organizations asking to do all girls camps or workshops. And I decided that I really wanted to be able to formulate my own thoughts and how I wanted things to be. So the Dottie Rose Foundation came into play. It's named in honor of my grandmother. And she and I were two peas in a pod. And the one thing that Mama D was really, really adamant about was our ability to integrate our love of education with community. She was a lifelong learner. She actually never went to college, but always took classes to learn something new. I mean, I went with her to numerous classes, dance classes, pottery, flowers, all kinds of things that she did. And so that's what we do. She was many times is my inspiration, in addition to my mom. My mom, who's the very practical, has all the the very practical advice. And Mama D and I would always go and do lots of fun things, And so I married those two together to come up with our organization. And we do all of our work centers around bringing in the community and focusing our content on things that the female persona likes, such as flowers and how scientific flowers actually are. And there's a whole technical component that we can bring in. Sure. So those are a little bit of the history.
Sure. That's awesome. And I think that it's really, really cool. And you can see the passion. I think like when you're speaking even about just the basics of what the foundation is, like there's so much passion around what you do. And you're kind of glow with that. And I think that's super awesome as you're just sitting here and being able to see that. So what has been like the biggest impact that you've seen as you've been able to kind of grab onto teaching young women about how to do the coding, how to do the pieces that you're teaching them, essentially, from the lack of things that exist in the current education system? Well,
it's twofold.
Yeah.
I'm going to say there's a twofold answer to that. Yeah. The first is it's really humbling when you begin to see the legacy of women that you yourself and the other educators that I have the privilege of working with have had an impact. And those women are now in the tech field and are coming back to support the work that you're still doing. Yeah. So the first inclination that I was on to something pretty good is when I began to have some of the young women that have been in my classes over the years, A, want to be in my classes again, B, would stay in touch with me while they were in college, and then they would come back and help me in the classroom or help with after-school activities or lead a camp. And so that was the first little piece. And then as we have created the foundation, the part that gives me the most goosebumps is this young lady that's sitting next to me, Ava Louise. This is year 3 that she's been with us, and the growth and the maturity and the way in which I've been able to watch her develop and grow, not just within the technological space, but as a young lady, is pretty spectacular. Yeah. And I think that's really what culminates for me, is that where I see the difference in what we are working on is that we're here for the long haul. I want to be a place where they can always come back and have we're here for sustainability. We're here for comfort. We're here for them to continue to learn and nurture and grow. So when Ava Louise ages out, and I'm going to put quotation marks out of that because technically my programming is around the higher elementary to middle school age group, she'll be able to come back and still help with our camps. We are expanding our program into high school, but we will continue to be a space where she can come and learn and grow. And if it's not with us, it's with another community partner. It may be me saying, hey, guys, Ava Louise is a Roblox champ. I need for you guys to grab her, right? Because she is amazing. Yeah. And that's what that's the part that's exciting.
Yeah. I think Rick and I have talked about that quite a bit, about being able to, I mean, you see it from a baseball standpoint, right? Of like being able to watch kids grow, and you get them from middle school all the way to when they're accepting their first college offer, and how rewarding that is, if you want to speak to that.
There's nothing more humbling, in my opinion, than setting them up for success and then seeing them realize that success.
Oh, that's, I like really the way you said that.
Nothing more humbling than that. And that's why you do it, right? That's why teachers do what they do. And for you to set up this organization specifically to find a means and be able to get that direction specifically for girls, especially now more than ever, I think is so cool and critical all at the same time. But let's get to really the main reason we invited you here, which is Ava Louise.
Well, I mean, clearly I would say that would hands down.
Okay.
Ava, how are you today?
I amazing.
All right.
And excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, we are equally as excited to have you here. But I got the pleasure of meeting you just before we started the podcast, and I have to start with this. Tell us about your shirt.
Okay, so I entered a contest on basically who can make a shirt design logo for the new T-shirt. I was like, I will enter this, hopefully win. So I decided that I would put, this is Dottie, Rose, and binary code, and we have all types of different, like smiley faces and roses and binary code on my T-shirt. And then I heard back, and my mom's like, guess what? And she was like, you won. And I was like, I can't believe it.
Her face is in awe, just so you can see that.
I can't believe it. I was jumping around. I was so excited. And once I saw the T-shirt, I was very proud of myself. And on top of that, I got 1 full week scholarship of camp. And that's what made me most excited, because I was going to be able to go to a camp for free.
Love it. Love it. And you drew that design, is that right?
Yes, I did. And then they made it into this.
Beautiful T-shirt. Congratulations to you. So let's start back when you first started, because you told me specifically you've been with the company for 3 years.
Yes.
So I want to hear back about what got you interested in this field. What was it in that first year that you were like, you know what, I want to try this?
Okay.
You remember?
Yes. So I remember me and my brother, my mom said, I signed you up for a camp. Let's go to it. And I was like, oh no. Because
You're like, oh no.
Yeah, because usually some camps to me that I do, I'm not really interested in them.
Right. They could be hit or miss.
Yeah,
you never know.
they can.
Exactly. And so in this, we learned how to control a sprite and code.
Mm-hmm.
And I still know how to do it, and it's very exciting to me because it's not like you're being put on the spot, like, you gotta do this. They help you, and they make sure that you know how to do it, and they say calmly enough that they're like, oh, here, let me help you with that. Awesome. And so then I have been going to camps ever since.
Awesome. See, I would suspect for boy or girl, you'd be a little bit intimidated going into a technological type camp, right? It's all about technology. What are we doing? Is it going to be boring, et cetera?
Exactly.
But it doesn't sound like that. Tell me a little bit more.
So I remember that it was an all-girls camp. We learned how to make bracelets with beads in binary code, how to spell your first name, last name, and middle name in binary. I made a big bracelet because I have a long name. It was very fun, though, and I learned so many more things in that camp. It just made me, it blew my mind away, and then I started doing camps more and more and more until the point I made it up to here.
Awesome. And you still got a good ways to go. So I'm going to segue off of that for just a minute and get back to Dr. Sharon with this question. So you've got obviously a star pupil here, and I'm sure a number of them look just like her, which is, I think, again, absolutely fantastic. And the goal is obviously to keep them going through that high school level and hopefully beyond that. So let's talk about retention a little bit. Obviously, you know, you capture them at this age, what I think is so critical.
Right.
And then capture that interest and start to have them grasp, where can this take me? As they get into high school and as they leave your program to a degree, what's next?
So the goal is, and this has happened, we want to encourage them to love what they're learning. She mentioned a bit about the binary code with bracelets because, again, that's an easy way for me to show them how binary can be applied to something they love. And then in turn, we also show them in that same camp, we had an entrepreneur come in and talk about how she makes jewelry and then how she uses a technological platform of web development to then sell that to others and to learn about business. So getting that exposure and excitement then would help them think about enrolling in a class in high school, a technical class, whether it's programming or business or engineering. And believe me, not everybody, you have to remember that computer science is a very broad discipline. Yes. Coding is one element.
Sure.
So teaching them a little bit about what is binary code, which is the basics of all programming, but still then reach into the business side of knowing that if she knows how to make a website, which she does, that's one of the other camps she took with me. She's learned HTML and CSS. And even if she doesn't sit down and code that from scratch from the very beginning, which who does at this time in our lives, right?
Yeah. Right.
She knows how to understand the basics of what it takes to build a website, how to use that website to leverage to move her to wherever she wants to go. Yep. So for that high school student, my goal is to give them that confidence in middle school that they can then enroll in something in high school and continue to build. And then, like I said, we're expanding our programming to high school. The other piece is I've partnered with other organizations in the area to say, you know, these are young ladies that have been through our program, or recommend it to them. This is how I want you to carry on. But most of them that I've got a good solid 2 handfuls of young women who would not have enrolled in some type of technical class in high school who now have, or have applied to be in an IT academy.
Got it. So I'll just make this comment. I don't know if you remember this show, but I'm sure CJ and Dr. Sharon will. There's a show that used to be on TV called Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Oh, yeah.
And guess what? You win. Hands down, you got me beat. So not even going to go there. But my next question really kind of revolves around getting parents to buy into your program, because I think we probably have a couple of similarities. Certainly you're a little bit more ahead than we would be here on the esports side of things. But in esports, in general, video games, it's difficult for us to deal with middle school age kids, parents, and really try to help them understand that it really isn't about the game per se.
Right.
It's really about building all the skill sets
Right.
that will let them to get better into high school, and certainly obviously into the collegiate pathway, and most importantly, a variety of different career paths that can be built from just this one video game per se.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, talk about some of the challenges you might have, especially on the girls' front, right?
Right.
They may want to have their girls at home doing something different, or going into something different field-wise. Tell me about some of the challenges that you may face and how potentially you overcome those with parents if they're out there.
It's a lot of talking. A lot of talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Initially in the first year of us being established as a nonprofit, you know, it was a lot of word of mouth and going to friends and family and working on getting testimonials, because even some of my friends didn't know what I did or understood what I did. And then they would share the word, and then we'd get some more people in. But it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of communication. I use a lot of video to explain what we're doing. It's a lot of phone calls, networking. And then I do have an army of parents now, like Ava Louise's mom, Lucienne, who's become my friend in addition to supporting what we do, mostly because, you know, that's the other thing about me is that the friendships that develop from being able to get to know the girls and their parents is pretty amazing, and it expands my horizons and gives me new life in what we're going to offer. So it's not really an easy answer, to be honest with you, Rick, but I will say in the very beginning, it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of education, of understanding, and honestly, a little bit of marketing, because I've had to be like binary bling. You know, and for me, that helps me to get them over the hump of being like, oh, my daughter doesn't like the computer. Well, I didn't either. I mean, let me be honest with you. I didn't have my first email address until I was a freshman in college. And that was in 1998. I mean, I was against all of that. And I just know that there's such power in being able to create. And how you create is up to you. But using tech is a great passion. So I'm rambling a little bit. But my point is a lot of conversation, a lot of on the ground, boots on the ground, networking, having conversations, getting wonderful young people like Ava Louise to help champion what we do. And see the results. I mean, when the kids leave, they're excited.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. No pressure, Ava, but I think she means it's up to you to start recruiting some more people.
Right.
And actually, you know, one of the things that I think certainly is going to continue to work in your favor, especially as you progress, is you said it earlier, you've got so many of those students that are coming back.
Right.
And wow, what a testimony! What a better testimonial than that, right? You know, they've gone through the program, they've gone into college now and potentially beyond, and now they're coming back saying, hey, we need help because what you did for us was a life changer, and
Right.
we want to be able to provide that for some of your current students. That's awesome. But
Yeah, I think that the education piece is so important for the parents, right? Because we struggle with it in a different way for esports. You know, you look at, because our central model is like gaming, right? So you look at gaming, and it's just so vast. And you said you were into a couple games, Ava Louise, right?
Yes.
Which games do you play? And
I play Roblox.
okay.
Sometimes Minecraft, and I also watch my older brother.
And why do you like those games? Why have you picked those games? Because I know there's a plethora out there you can choose from. What's so appealing about them?
Roblox, I love to play Roblox because it has so many different game styles, and you can create your own game.
Yep.
And it just seems very fun to me because I can also chat with my friends on there, and I feel like the games are very appealing to me, and it really, when I play, it passes time very fast. So when I'm bored, sometimes I play Roblox.
You're never bored.
Well,
You say that
yes,
word. You can't
yes.
be bored.
Yeah,
There's so many things
I-
to do. Ava
But I'm
Louise,
playing- yeah, I'm barely bored, but
barely.
barely.
never.
But I do play Roblox a lot.
Well, you know, one of the things I've asked the girls quite a bit about this since since CJ and Rick and I met about Roblox, because I actually don't play many video games. It's never been my attraction. But there's a very large female presence on Roblox.
There is.
And part of that is what I hear from them is there's so much creativity.
No doubt.
And as a female persona, we like to create. There is an attraction to us being to create and to communicate. So she mentioned it also, being able to communicate with her friends. We're very collaborative as a female population. I'm not trying to generalize to everybody, but there is some sense of that creativity, communication, and collaboration, which Roblox did a good job of. And then what they were very smart is they added in their own programming language so that we can then teach them once they create it, how to program it.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, so they let you build your own kind of, yeah. And you talked about the creative thing. So have you built anything that you're like super excited about in Roblox?
I have one game. It costs Robux. But it's called Bloxburg.
Okay.
It's it's basically my favorite game on Roblox because you can build on there. It's basically your lifestyle because you have moods you have to build up, and you also have to work for money in that game. But I think it's very fun because I've been building a house in Bloxburg, my dream house.
Are you going to have your dream wedding there too?
No.
Easy.
I don't want to get
Easy.
married.
You don't want to get married?
No.
Okay. I love the idea of though, right? Like, I think that's, because one of the things that I think that a little bit of the gaming community has kind of lost over the years is they've made it a little bit more like a one-stop shop. Like, here's the thing I'm going to give you, and you play that thing, right? And they kind of have taken that creative mode out of games more so at the higher level. So seeing
Which is why the kids like Minecraft and
Exactly.
Roblox,
Exactly.
because
No
they
doubt.
can create.
And they keep gravitating back towards it.
Yep.
Yes.
My
Right.
daughter, I know, I'll catch her playing, and she'll be playing Fortnite or something along those lines, and then next thing I know, she's playing back in Minecraft. I'm thinking,
How did this happen?
Get past that
And
already?
when you think about this with Fortnite, part of the way that part of the reason why it became so popular is people bought these skins, these dances, these things that they could then emulate.
Yep.
I mean, when my son came home and could do the floss, I'm like, I don't even know, like how to do. We don't even have Fortnite at our house, but he learned it from others, you know, bringing that back. So that going back to that creativity is, I notice it with our girls too. Anything that they can do hands-on and can think through a process, even though they don't realize how much they're doing computational thinking or design thinking or problem solving or however you want to put the words around it, they absolutely, it's like she said, time starts to slip away because they're doing something they enjoy.
That's right. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I actually learned when I was your age. So I played a ton of games, and back then there was a lot of creative features that kind of existed with them, and I learned how to problem solve using those games essentially as a platform. I didn't realize it at the time. I was just playing games. Like, I just wanted to hang out and build my map and play the map and play with, you know, all the features inside of it that I could do. But it was really, really cool. So it's awesome to see that you've kind of gravitated to that, and I love the social aspect. You're dead on, especially right now in the COVID environment we live in, right?
No, more
so
than
like,
ever.
you're looking for social interaction. You want to be able to hang out with your friends, and this is a safe way that you can still hang out with your friends currently. Yeah. So, sorry, switching gears a little bit. The future of Dottie Rose. So
Oh.
if we could go 5 years in the future and you had your dream world and you've built everything you needed to get it to where your pipeline of ladies is just is overwhelming. What do you think that looks like?
Wow. Actually, you pretty much nailed it. I mean, the dream for me is to create this legacy of women who can say that they had an opportunity when they were young to really be able to find their inner self-confidence, learn a skill set, and be able to use that as they move through their future. And whether it ends up being in tech or not, I mean, it's a total bonus if they go into technology. Of course, I'll whoop, whoop. But more than anything, that they have been able to find themselves and be able to have self-confidence and to do anything they want to do.
Sure.
And I would love to see us to be able to expand our programs beyond just our region and move into a more national arena.
Sure.
I'm very adamant about quality over quantity, so whatever we decide to do over the next few years, it will be very purposeful.
Got it.
And I'm also adamant that whatever we do, we have built strong partnerships so that the young women that come through our program know they have support beyond just us.
Yeah.
And have other community partners or mentors that they can turn to. I don't know about the two of you. I know, CJ, you and I talked a little bit about this at one point, but for me to have somebody who is a mentor or someone who else that I can turn to and say, hey, what do you think about this?
Yep.
And for them to support you and give you honest advice if you really are going to do something silly. Most of the time I tell people you're not, but I think that's so important.
Yep.
And so if it's not me that turns out to be the mentor, but they find someone in you or in Rick or one of your other partners, then that we have reached success.
Yeah.
Yep. And not only that, you're not only creating a pipeline, but you're also building that pipeline.
That's right.
For girls like her, right? For girls that have already matriculated through your program, those are going to be natural mentors.
Yeah, that's my goal. Little Ava Louise here. I mean, she knows she can't. She's stuck with me for life. Although I don't think she complains.
Uh-oh. She's actually speechless. That might be the first time today. Wait a minute. So one question for you, Ava.
Yes.
Favorite part? You've been there doing this now for 3 years.
Yeah.
In those 3 years, your favorite memory or your favorite part that you can remember and say, you know what, so far, I know all of it's been fun. Don't get me wrong. But what's been the most outstanding memory you have from it so far? Besides this podcast, don't go there. We know that already. Besides that.
Okay. All right. So, I actually we had a camp a couple weeks ago, a maker's camp. We made soaps, lotion, duct tape earrings.
Nice.
Cool.
We also
Totally awesome,
made
by the way.
bracelets with 8 rings. Well, eight rounds, I guess. That camp was so fun because we also learned about business. And we made our own businesses in that camp. At Friday, we
Awesome.
sold our stuff. It was very interesting because we had people come in and tell us more about what they do for a living.
Yep.
And how they make this stuff. I was just shocked because I didn't learn about that until now. And it was fun.
Super cool.
Probably one of my favorite camps.
Super cool.
Ava Louise sold out of all of her products.
Oh, no
my
doubt.
Just in like
goodness.
5 minutes, we
Instantly.
were
no
done.
shock.
Just flew
No
off the
shock.
shelves.
So, but let me make sure I get this right. So your camp wasn't just in front of a computer, punching in a bunch of numbers and codes, and that's it for the whole week. You actually created a bunch of different cool stuff that you're able to sell on the market and then learn about business from people that are currently out there in the market. Not so bad for a camp.
No, that one was a pretty awesome camp, and we we did that amidst the COVID situation with lots of masks and spread out. But for the soap making piece, they actually learned from a partner of mine, Bubbles and Rain, and she came in and for 2 days, and they made 2 different types of soap, and they learned the scientific method and process
Cool.
behind
Yeah.
turning something from a solid to a liquid and adding in the flavors. not flavors, smells. Flavors not the right word.
You taste them, yeah. I know.
Different type of stuff.
Smells. And then we had a local jeweler come in to help them teach them about the algorithm of making a good bracelet. And then we had a group of young women from UNCC, from Girls Who Launch, who came in and showed them how to start building their business.
Cool. Very, very cool.
I have a question for you, Ava. School right now, are you going to school? Is it virtual? Tell me a little bit about what that experience has been like right now.
Virtual right now. I really wish it was in school, because first day of school, or like the night before school, I can't get 1 hour of sleep. Literally, I'm probably one of the only kids in my school that are excited. Because most of the kids on my block, they're like, no, I don't want to go back to school. And I'm just like, I am ready. I want to go back and learn more. But this year, my last year in elementary, no virtual learning only. I have a feeling I'm going to go back this year, hopefully, hoping a lot.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So what's the best part of virtual learning? Is there a good in there?
Well, this year I got the teacher I wanted.
Okay.
Good.
And
Yeah.
Which was all of them. We know that.
Yeah,
Every single one that you
teacher,
got,
every one of you
you
teachers.
love. I got
Yes,
it.
I
Very
mean,
good.
I love all my teachers.
We know
I
that.
love all teachers. It's
Obviously.
just, yeah, I really want that one.
Cool.
And I got to see all my friends on Zoom.
Okay.
It's very interesting.
It is.
Very interesting, because most of the time it just breaks up like it.
Oh.
And then
Yeah, we've had a little of that at our
and
house
then
too.
you're frozen.
Yeah.
And I have been on Zoom meetings for Dr. Sharon's meetings before.
Mhm.
Some interesting times there. Oh, yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on now and talk about something else. But no, just kidding.
Do they give you a Chromebook? Do you have a Google Chromebook?
I
or?
have a Chromebook from school.
Okay.
Yes. I have my own as well.
I'm just curious. Has your teacher used? There's a Minecraft Education Edition on there.
Yep.
Have you gotten to use that or play with it at all or anything like that yet?
No, I haven't even checked about
They
it.
probably won't do that until second semester.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Is it
but it is
there?
on there, and it's actually on all the iPads, I noticed. But I believe that's not until second semester,
Okay.
just in terms of where it sits kind of
Sure.
in the...
Am I the only
And-
one that didn't know about this?
Yeah. It's a really cool program that
Very cool.
Microsoft built. And it was like, I saw it the other day and they were like, hey, this is free on all these. And I was like, oh, these teachers need to use this as a teaching application.
Yeah, it's
for
pretty
sure.
amazing.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Have
I
you
agree.
played with it at all? Or
We've used it in some of our work, and then my younger son has become very excited about Minecraft,
Yeah.
and so I've been diving into it a little bit more. But Microsoft actually offers a lot of free classes.
Yep.
Force kids to go on and learn how to do that, and it'd be online at this point. And we actually ourselves, in the spring offered a class with Microsoft, and we'll do it again this fall, but probably with you guys.
Yeah.
You like how I threw that in there?
We're all
teasers.
in.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
I'm doing
But
it.
yeah, I do
All
think
in.
it's a very cool program, and you can build and learn to code at the same time, which makes me excited.
Yeah, I found it yesterday, and I was doing a bunch of research on like how to implement it and what the teachers. And I also found like I imagine most of the teachers are going to struggle to implement it because it's kind of
Yeah. That's usually the hurdle that they conceptually they understand or in general, and let's just say that across the board, most people conceptually understand. It's then how do you make that next step to implement and come up with a way to integrate, and that's usually where, honestly, like where my genius comes in and saying, or yours, and saying, oh, I see the connection here between building your dream house using Minecraft and also or in social studies building Mayan ruins using Minecraft.
Exactly.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's going to be so cool. And the fact that Microsoft was able, because Minecraft, it costs some money to be able to buy that game, right?
Yeah, it does.
That's
It's
a
like
free
$8.
platform that everyone can use. And so I'm super excited, and I really want to be like a driving force with you to like get teachers to be able to implement that in their classrins, because I think that's
This is
gonna be
great news, CJ. You have no idea. Yes. Watch out.
Did you have any more questions, Rick? Or
Not on Minecraft.
okay, not on Minecraft.
He was spending all his morning
on Minecraft.
I love
unbelievable.
no
No,
Fall
just
Guys.
kidding.
Fall Guys.
Don't play Fall Guys.
Fall Guys.
Don't do it.
Oh,
Don't
it's
do
so good.
She's grinning from ear to ear, people.
So what games do your brothers play?
my brothers. Well, my older brother, I think he plays Call of Duty.
Okay.
He plays
I know
all
somebody
the
who knows
gun
that
games
game very well.
Yeah, he plays all the gun games on his Xbox One.
Okay.
Popular.
And my
What's the thing in
my
guns? I
twin,
don't get it. I don't get it.
my twin, he plays Roblox.
He's
and
older
have a
than
twin?
you, right? He's older
I have
than
a
you.
twin.
Oh my goodness.
By a minute.
There you
I
go.
said a
Ah,
minute.
he's older
It doesn't
than
really
you.
matter.
That's
Oh,
okay.
You got an older twin. Okay.
I'm aggravated.
What did
So-
your twin play? What did you say?
He plays a little Roblox and
Okay.
Okay, yeah, he plays games basically.
Don't we
Got
all? Don't we all? We're all just
Got it.
gamers.
Got it.
Especially Rick.
I would think everyone.
Rick,
is
what games do you play? Real
I
question.
played Fall Guy just before we started this meeting.
Oh,
believe it or
yeah.
not.
Oh,
First
okay.
time.
First time
Not
I'm a Fall
pretty.
Guys. Oh, it was
Not
good. It was so
Guys.
pretty.
Don't-
Oh, we
don't
got to get
start.
Sharon on it next.
I don't-
year.
I- listen,
Don't do
y'all.
it. Don't do it.
I will tell
Just
you, I
don't
have just never.
do it.
That has never been my jam. Like
There
I
you go.
just don't love.
Smart.
My kids play. I don't know what it is. Like I now if you want me to program something and develop a game, yes.
I think we
tend
need to
not
look at
play
it, and
that.
I'm going to be like, how easy is this to build? I want to know.
There you
How
go.
it took them this long to make it. How
Wow.
easy was this to build?
Probably because you have 900 if-then statements of what could happen when you
Oh,
do.
my goodness.
Very
Only.
true. Okay.
Yes.
Very true.
Couple last quick questions, and then we'll wrap it up. I know it's getting a little bit later. But so for you, Eva Louise, talk to me about where you see yourself once you've graduated high school. I know it's a long way. It's a long way away, but all of this camp and this stuff that you're into, which is going to be so awesome and cool for you, what do you think you want to do with it?
8 years from now.
It's quick math. Good job. Good job.
Okay. When I grow up, I want to be an interior decorator.
Awesome.
I am obsessed with decorating. That's why I play Bloxburg so much.
Yeah, and you're super
Bloxburg,
creative because, right? Look at your shirt.
Yes,
Right.
and there are so many ways of being creative.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
don't have to be an artist. You can be creative in so many ways.
No doubt.
I think 8 years from now, I still don't know if I want to go to college or not. But
We're going to
I
edit that
feel
part
like,
out.
Okay, okay,
Go ahead.
okay,
You're good.
okay.
As long as you get your education in something, you have to train yourself to do something. So interior design is amazing.
Yep.
So as long as you do some type of program to train yourself, then we're good. We're good. We're good.
I was teasing. So, but that's awesome because I see that completely. You'll probably be the best interior designer in the country just based on this startup. Just look at the things you've already done,
It's true.
right? If you have that passion and that fire and that's what you want to get after, there's no stopping you. Absolutely no stopping you. So that's fantastic. Talk
Thank
to
you
us.
very much.
You're
Thank
welcome. You are welcome. You deserve it. Talk to us a little bit about the Dottie Rose Foundation. How can people find you? What
Sure.
are your Twitter handles, social media,
Yeah.
webpage, et cetera, please?
So you can find us at dottierosefoundation.org, DOTTIE foundation.org. Our handles are at Dottie Rose Foundation on all the major platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Our Twitter handle is #SpotOnTheDot or at
Ooh.
SpotOnTheDot.
I like that.
Yeah, that one was kind of fun. Spot on the dot. And we have all kinds of things that we are working on for fall and spring, both virtual and in person. And I just want to say for a minute for Ava Louise, in 8 years, my friend, you're going to go a lot of places. And I cannot wait to watch you grow and what you are able to develop and see the confidence that you just had in saying, I want to be an interior designer. Most young people can't do that.
Yep.
So to be able to have your end game and then work backwards, think about all the cool things that you can do that will put you in that position. That's pretty incredible and something to commend.
You're gonna have to clip this in 8 years, and you got to show it to her.
Yep.
I know.
Remember
Oh my
this?
gosh, in 8 years, I'm hoping I'll be sitting
You're
at
a
graduation.
NASA rocket science. What happened? You needed to be interior design. We had a dream. What happened?
Well, you could interior design the inside of the NASA rocket ship, and I'd be okay with it.
That's true. That is true. That'd be
You
kind
could come
of a
up with
cool
the
job.
next great innovation. I really need a new office chair. I'm gonna put you on that.
There you go.
I need a good office chair.
I already have an idea.
Oh, of course you do. Yep.
It's probably a Herman Miller. I can feel it
Next
already.
camp.
Next camp.
Yeah.
Well, we did do a Build Your Dream Room camp, and we partnered with Dell.
I fell in love with my box so much, but I really want to redecorate my bedroom because I have all the stuff from when I was this tall. So I am definitely working on my room right now. I have a lot of new stuff. I spent a lot of money the other day.
That's it.
My money.
That's good.
Good for you.
I'm glad it wasn't somebody else's.
Oh yeah, my mom would be mad. $68.
Got it. Got it.
Okay, yeah.
Well, keep going towards your dream.
Yep.
Usually the only thing that stops people from achieving it is they start to get some fear.
Fear and also not believing in themselves.
Well, you obviously believe in you. Just don't let anything keep you from your path. Okay?
Never.
Chase it.
True.
So fall and spring camps
Fall
are
and
coming
spring.
up. People can look it up, find it.
DottieRoseFoundation.org. Everything for the fall is already up, and we'll have we'll keep adding. We've got our core programming up right now, but there will be other pop-ups and things that we'll do throughout the summer, the fall, as we move and continue to ride the roller coaster. And
from a support perspective, hopefully we'll get some people that see this as a great program as we do, and look at, well, how can we help?
Yep.
So from a support perspective,
so
where can people help?
Yes, for support, there's a couple of different ways. The first way is, of course, financially. We are a nonprofit, so any type of financial support in sponsoring a young lady to be a part of one of our programs is always spectacular. On average, it's about $250 to sponsor a child for a program, give or take. Some are not as. Several of our programs this year are going to go a couple of weeks to give a little bit more longevity to what we were looking for. Volunteering, coming and sharing your expertise with us is phenomenal. So there is a volunteer form on our website that you can sign up, and it'll come to us. Anything that you want to come and speak about, and you don't have to be. Listen, this is the big thing. You don't have to be a tech expert. You could you could do anything. Exposure to the girls is what matters. And then the third way is if you're interested in partnering with us in terms of putting together some programming, or if you want to come and just volunteer. Let me say that. Take that. Volunteer, just be at a camp, not necessarily guest speak. You can do that.
Sure.
But if you're looking and partner with us in terms of helping us cultivate some curriculum or share your space, that's huge for us. The other core element of my work is that I take the girls where the business or tech action is. So our programming, we do a lot of work where we go into companies so that they can see what does it look like to work at Century One or Dell or Tavris or wherever it is, so they understand that perspective as well.
Yep.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
That is all the questions I have for today. But I do think our producer was handed something that we may want to get on camera.
Oh, let's get that on camera. Oh, my gosh,
This was
Kyle.
created by Dr. Sharon.
No.
This was made by me.
This was one of Ava Louise's projects, I would assume. Can you describe it? Can you tell us what we're looking at?
So that was my dream bedroom. Not exactly, but it is something. It would be a bedroom I would want. I burned my finger a lot with the hot glue gun that day. So and then.
Go ahead, you can grab it.
Oh,
You can take a look.
Okay, so
Need a reminder.
I
There you
believe
go.
I made like a mini couch over here and glued a blanket.
I like the
Then I got a laptop, a chair. I believe I colored this, and then I put 2 A's because I'm obsessed with Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh,
We
you and
also-
I right here. You and I right here.
We also
love Dunkin'
had
Donuts.
a counselor that loves Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah,
coffee.
she might have
She
simply
drank-
bought stock in it. She's
She
been so
literally drank
Crazy.
so much coffee one day. I was like,
She might have bought stock in it.
Love
crazy.
it. Love it.
Well, what's cool about this is part of with the camp that she was with this one is we use data to drive the decision. So in terms of thinking about wanting to be an interior designer, we talked a lot about what data and numbers drive decisions and and drive style and content. So if an interior designer knows that the pop colors right now are gray and blue or pink or whatever it is, that helps them be able to serve their customers better. So we talked a lot about that and about smart technology that's going to be included in upcoming builds and rooms. So they actually also each received an Alexa that was donated by one of our wonderful sponsors and Dell. And then they learned to program how to turn their lights on and off. So it's kind of understanding that process of what's artificial intelligence, how data drives that artificial intelligence. So in her dream room, does she want lights to come on when she does, kind of like the clap on, clap off, from years ago.
I remember.
But, yeah, I know. When you and I remember. Okay. That was really cool back in the day.
I remember too, okay? Yeah. I was there for that era.
Okay.
But not working.
That's part of the whole essence of how we bring in the computer science and technology piece, is that when you're designing a room, you've got to remember that so much tech is now involved. Plugs, USB, and
more than ever.
I was laughing the other day. I said, now I have a 2013 car and there's a plug for the iPod. I'm like, well, that's not relevant anymore, but the USB plug is, Anyway, that's that conversation. And that's why for them, for her, if that's what she wants to do, she can start keeping these things in mind. And that's the one piece that I think we don't do justice to, is talking about how much data drives decisions and what we do with that data. And so we spent a lot of time. It was not as they probably didn't jump up and down as much about all of that piece, but it's what I need them to begin to start processing as they choose the colors that they do.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yep.
No doubt about it. Well, Ava, thank you so very much for joining us today. It has been an absolute pleasure to meet you, and I definitely want to keep in touch so we can continue to see your progress, especially as you head towards that interior design company of yours. Got to start thinking of names and such. You got time. But that'll be good.
Time.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Dr. Sharon, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The work you do is just so unbelievable in terms of not only what you provide in terms of the opportunities for the younger generation of girls coming through, but obviously what you're able to provide in terms of a mentorship and a friendship, I think is something that you'll certainly be rewarded as you see a number of these girls come back, and there's nothing more rewarding than that. So we appreciate what you do.
Thank you for honoring the work. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
And thank you, Rick, for being here.
Every day.
You.
Every day.
Cool.
So that is all we have for today. Thank you again. And for those of you that were either tuned in or listening, thank you so much for paying attention to another edition of our Spincast here at Stay Plugged In. CJ, thanks as usual.
Spincast.
And we will catch you another time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.